I just got like almost $1 million listing from it.
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? To get the answers, we interview the top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Elite Agent Secrets show. Today we've got Dancia Mast with us. She's been in real estate for 5 years and is a top producer, selling over 60 homes. Last year as a solo agent and part of a brokerage with 15 agents. She's going to be discussing how she went from new agent to top producer so quickly, marketing secrets, and the learning and training process today with us. Dancia, how are you doing? Thanks for agreeing to come on the show.
Hi, thank you.
You get to come and share your secrets and unpack how our listeners can do 60 deals themselves. Now, the way we like to start every show is context. So take us back to 5 years and 1 day ago. Why the hell did you get into real estate? Take us on a bit of a journey over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I was waitressing. I was 21. I found out I was pregnant with my first child, Malachi. I had $20 in my bank account. I hated waitressing, just getting treated like crap and like working crazy hours. And then I was pregnant and I just remember thinking like, this is not the life I want to have as a mother. I wasn't planning on having kids till I was in my 30s. So it kind of was just like, oh, I'm 21 and now I have to grow up. Like, okay. So I was like, what can I do with $20 to like change my career path, And so I decided to borrow some money from my mother to sign up for my real estate classes. And that was $600 to do through the community college. And I started in September and I got my license in June. And I got my real estate license when I was 38 weeks pregnant with my son. Working evenings, doing real estate classes. I failed my exams a couple of times, but I just kept going. I was like, I'm going to pass my real estate exam before I have this baby. Like, otherwise it's not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this intense schooling and testing with a newborn. So I was so stoked, like 38 weeks pregnant, got my real estate license. Then I had my baby 3 weeks later. And, that's like where I kind of decided to go into real estate. Was I wanted to be a mother that could provide a great childhood for my son. And I really did just have to kind of grow up really fast and kind of figure out what I was going to do with my life when I thought I had all my 20s to figure it out,
Absolutely.
So that's where I kind of started transitioning into real estate. But that was not an easy journey like I thought it was. I thought real estate would be all this money flowing in, and it was not the case.
To be fair, you sound like you're now at a point where money is flowing in pretty healthily. But what were your first?
A long time, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, 5 years isn't a long time. With like, you think about, I don't know, say lawyers or doctors or whatever, right. You probably make more than them with no formal education, no debt hanging over your head for like 7 years of schooling and all this other shit that they have to have, which is why we love this industry. Like, selfishly, it's like you can have no qualifications at all and become a millionaire by hard work, right?
And like, it was very minimal to borrow $600 to get, I didn't have to be like thousands and thousands in student debt just for a career that's going to pay me six figures when I can make way more than that off of just $600 to get my license. So,
right. Exactly. Yeah. So what was your first year? I mean, you've been in the industry for 5 years. So can you give us a rough idea of what you did for over the last 5 years with regards to transactions? Did you rise to stardom overnight? Were you doing 60 deals within your first year?
No way. I did one deal in my first year and it was my mom's rental. So it wasn't even like my own client. And I love my mom for that. She really was patient because that's when I had to pay her back and it took a year. But no, I worked at this brokerage that if I could go back in time, I would have worked under a brokerage that was a lot busier. The brokerage I decided to first join was a lot of because like my family was friends with the owners and I really wanted to just like make everyone happy and go there. Didn't do a lot of research and I sat in that office waiting for the phone to ring. I sent out letters. Had no training, no one to help shadow me. I was completely lost. And with a baby, still working a night job, my first year of real estate, finally closed one transaction. It was horrific. I was like about to give up. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, because my real estate fees were expensive, the zip form fees, the RMLS fees, all those fees were adding up. I wasn't making any sales. I was door knocking. I was sending letters. I was doing open houses, hoping to get buyers. But I knew I was like, I'm just going to keep going, no matter how hard it is. Like I sold my dining room table to pay my water bill. That's how bad it was. I mean, I was just like chucking along. And so I still kept a side job waiting tables or, servicing drinks at the Mill Casino. And it was just not what I expected getting into real estate. It was really tough the first year. But I just was like, I'm just going to stick with it because I really loved it. And I really knew like, if I set my mind to it, I could really be successful. I just couldn't give up because the first couple of years were going to be hard. And I'm so glad I didn't give up that first couple of years that it was hard. The second year, I think I sold like maybe 5 houses. I started getting my feet in and getting leads, but it was only like 5 houses in 1 year, so it gradually got better, but it was a very slow process. Like 5 years doesn't sound like a long time to some people, but for me, like financially speaking, it was very long and challenging for sure.
Like a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. As you were kind of building it up and making progress, how much activity did you actually have? Like, give us a little bit of an understanding for anybody who's listening. There's, that's starting out, or maybe they're getting a little bit discouraged. Like, did you knock on like 5 doors per day, 10 doors per day? Did you send like 10 pieces of mail per week? Like, what did that activity look like so that people can get a little bit of context of how quickly, you went from 1 to 5 to where you are today?
I think persistence and just remaining confident and hopeful was the biggest thing, because I would send out like 100 letters a week and I'd get maybe 1 call a month later. Like the expired withdrawn listings, the for sale by owner listings, I sent them all letters every week, like 100 plus letters. And I'd be like, my phone's not ringing. I did a really good job on this letter. Like, offered to list their house at 5% instead of 6%, like mentioned all the marketing I was going to do. So like my letters weren't really working. And it took one guy, I'm not sure if I can say his name or not, but he helped me tremendously. And he gave me a chance. He wasn't happy with his realtor. And so he gave me 2 listings off the bat. He owned about 10 properties. And I built a really good first impression with him from those letters. And that helped carry me into getting 2 to 3 to 5 listings from this guy. So that really, the letters, I just kept sending them for months. And then I finally got this really great seller, and he just kind of gave me a chance. And then I started getting listings from him, and we built a friendship and like trust. And so the letters, I was hoping that my phone was going to ring right away. And it took weeks until they started to ring, but I every week went in the office and sent out 100 plus letters.
We always talk about this, right? The delayed gratification, especially on stuff like this. Like what you're doing right now, you're not going to see 30, 60, 90 days from today. Like it's just not going to be right away. Like real estate always has some type of a delay, right? So you may go and you may knock on 100 doors. Those people probably are not going to remember you. You may send 100 letters. They'll definitely won't remember you until something changes and they actually need to sell. And if you got 10 letters from the one person, who are they going to naturally call?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would repeat send letters too, for sure. I would definitely like.
Did you handwrite stuff or did you?
I did handwrite them at first, but then it got to a point where I would type in their name and then, copy and paste my script and then hand signature at the bottom. So it wasn't dear homeowner, it was dear John Doe. And then my printed letter and then a wet signature on the bottom. Because I realized I was doing dear homeowner and they were like, it's not as personal. So for the letters, I started trying to get more personal, more consistent. I was very patient with that. It ended up working in my favor. I actually just got a pretty good listing a couple of weeks ago from doing it. So I still do it.
Still something you do today.
Yeah, but once a month. And it's about 50 letters once a month. And I just got like almost $1 million listing from it. So it definitely is something I still do, but not as actively because I'm so busy. But in the beginning, it was something that I every week would send out 100+ letters and just sit at my computer all day prepping them and then go mail them. But consistency and just being very patient was key in that because it was a long, drawn out marketing plan that you don't see turnover right away,
A lot of people aren't going to have the patience and not going to do it for long enough. So, one of your first topics, like we just started touching on, was how to go from a brand new agent to being a top producer. What kept you alive? Like your mindset wise, like you knew there was light at the end of the tunnel. You didn't know how long it was going to take. The first year wasn't your year. Second year, you made a little bit of progress, right? Like you 5x your production. What did your third year look like? And when did you really start taking off?
So my third year, I switched brokerages and that really was my turnaround. So I decided this brokerage is just kind of collecting money from me, but not providing any training, not providing any support, not offering to help me shadow. So I was like, all right, I'm bailing ship. I'm going to go to the biggest brokerage in my town and work under the top producing agents, learn from them, shadow them, do open houses for them. I ended up partnering up with out of 300+ agents, these agents were top 2. And they ended up having me help them and partnering up with them my third year once they moved brokerages. And so that's where I worked under a top producer. I was doing open houses and showings and putting my name out there with them and really connecting with their clients on a personal level because they were so busy. So like they would hand me down these clients that, maybe took a little bit longer to get into escrow. And I really built connections that way. And I think that's really where it took off was once I switched brokerages and started working under some top producers and really learning from them and building connections with them. And then kind of like building my own connections with people, which ended up being word of mouth, like recommending me. So that third year was like my turnaround when I switched brokerages and really went to the right brokerage. However, that brokerage, they did offer training. I was working under like the top realtors and like in the same office as them, learning so much, but I didn't feel like I had any support. And so I still wasn't happy at that brokerage. So even though that was like my turnaround, I started like really making more money, like sold like 25 houses that year. I was like, I really want to have my own brokerage. And I don't know if I'm skipping too far ahead, but at the time, my boyfriend, he is a principal broker, realtor, had his own brokerage, but he just did it from his home office so he could be on the RMLS and flip houses. And I just started dating him and I was like, let's just grow this brokerage and make it the brokerage that I've always wanted to work for. So I kind of took a big jump after the second brokerage and started my own with my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband. And now we've grown to 17 agents. It was 15, now it's 17. It's still rapidly growing. So it just kind of.
So you went first year 1 deal, second year 5 deals, Third year, 25 at a brokerage, but weren't happy. Fourth year, set up my own brokerage with my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah, and people thought I was
in year 5
crazy.
going in.
They were like, you are crazy. Like, you're going to just like open a brokerage with this guy you just started dating and moved in with. And I was like, yeah, we're in love. We have the same interests, like with the same dreams. And then it was just like a switch. It was like, oh my gosh, like it was all a crazy journey. But that was like, once I decided like these brokerages weren't providing me what I wanted and I was working my butt off, I was going to change that. And I was going to open up a brokerage that had all the support and all the needs that I never had from those other 2 brokerages.
Yeah.
But originally it was just my boyfriend at the time and me, just the 2 of us in this little commercial building he owned. And that really helped take off my career too, because then I was like, starting my own brokerage. I was recruiting agents to come work for me. I was 26 years old, with a kid and a boyfriend, and it just sounded crazy, but people loved it. They were like, good for you. Like, you are really like killing it in this industry. Like, I just never gave up. And I just kept seeing like, there's more and more and more I can do. Like, why not do it?
So I think this is pretty wild story, to be fair, to have done this in your 3rd or 4th year. So now you're in basically your 3rd year of owning your own brokerage now. Is that about right?
Yeah. Going into my, like halfway in my 3rd year is when I did that switch.
No, as in now you've ran your own for about 3 years. Is that about right?
It's been 5 years total. So I've ran my own brokerage for 2 years almost.
Yeah. Perfect. And then you've already brought on 17 agents now to scale things up even more. So you've gone from making 1 deal selling your mum's house to having 17 agents and your own indie brokerage in 5 years.
Yeah.
That is one hell of a story. Now,
2 kids.
And 2 kids. Yeah, to be fair, one of the craziest things is actually I was getting my license as having a newborn baby, which is like, I can't even fucking fathom. Oh, and by the way, you might not have known this, but we've already helped over 100 agents cross over $100,000 per year and up in GCI with our predictable and scalable systems. So if you're interested in learning more about our courses and coaching to help you scale your business to 6 figures and beyond, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.